Good morning, this is Bob Mason from FX Empire and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, EOS, Ethereum and Ripple's XRP. We'll be looking at the MACDs, the moving averages and the day's support, resistance and pivot levels. It is Saturday the 15th of August. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against the US dollar and the hourly candlesticks, been a particularly bullish start to the morning. Going to need to see Bitcoin avoid a pullback through the first major resistance level at 11,874 to target a move back through the second major resistance level, so it's at 11,973. Barring extended rally through the day, that second major resistance level and 12,000 resistance should cap any upside on the day. Fall through the first major resistance level would bring sub 11,800 levels into play. Barring an extended pullback, however, should see Bitcoin avoid a fall through the pivot at 11,667, and that should also leave Bitcoin steering well clear of the support levels. First major support level sits at 11,667. Looking at the MACDs, we had that bullish crossover and we're seeing a widening of the bullish histograms. On moving averages, we got a widening of the 50 from the 100 and the 200, supportive of the morning breakout. So key through the early part of the day would be to avoid a fall back through that first major resistance level at 11,874. Moving across to EOS against the US dollar, also a particularly bullish start to the morning. EOS breaking through that first major resistance level. Going to need to see EOS avoid a fallback through the first major resistance level sitting at 3.3506 to support a move back through to 3.40 levels. This morning we saw EOS break through the second major resistance level at 3.4347 before pulling back. So barring an extended rally on the day, that second major resistance level should cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, EOS could test resistance at 3.5 before any pullback. A fall through that first major resistance level would bring sub 3.3s into play. Barring an extended sell-off, however, should see EOS avoid the pivot level at 3.2148 and the major support levels on the day. Looking at the MACD and the moving averages, widening of the histograms here, bullish crossover yesterday, supportive of this continued breakout, and the 50 is widening against the 100 and the 200 on the moving averages, supportive of upward momentum on the day. So key through the morning will be to break back through to 3.40 levels to target the second major resistance level and resistance at 3.5. Moving across to Ethereum against the US dollar, relatively bullish start to the morning. Going to need to see Ethereum avoid a fall through the pivot at 434, however, to support a run at the first major resistance level at 450.35. Support from the broader market is going to be needed for Ethereum to break out from yesterday's high that was 445.45. So barring an extended rally on the day, that first major resistance level should cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, could see Ethereum target 460s and the second major resistance level at 462 before any pullback. Fall through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 422.42 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should avoid sub 400s. Second major support level sits at 406. Looking at the MACDs, bucking the trend from the other two majors. So we've got a bearish crossover there. So going to need to see Ethereum steer clear of that pivot level to support a breakout. Looking at the 50 EMA, however, that's widening against the 100 and the 200. So key through the morning is to avoid the pivot at 434 and a move back through to 440s to support a breakout on the day. Finally, moving across to Ripple's XRP against the US dollar, also a relatively bullish start to the morning here. Going to need to see Ripple's XRP avoid a fall through the pivot at 0.2993 to support another run at the first major resistance level sitting at 0.3084. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ripple's XRP to break out from yesterday's high that was sitting at 0.3074. So barring extended rally on the day, that first major resistance level should cap any upside. In the event of another breakout, got the 23.6% fib at 0.3134 and the second major resistance level at 0.3165 to cap any upside. A fall through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 0.2912 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, should see Ripple's XRP avoid sub 0.29 levels. Second major support level sits at 0.2821. Looking at the MACD, we've got that bearish crossover and a widening of the bearish histogram, suggestive of a morning pullback. We're also seeing the 50 EMA begin to flatten against the 100 and the 200. So key through the morning would be to avoid sub 0.3 levels and the pivot at 0.2993. Avoiding the pivot and sub 0.3 should support a move back through the early morning high and the first major resistance level at 0.3084.